Hello everyone and welcome to Music Theory with GUIM. In the last episode we talked about constructing and resolving the augmented sixth interval. Now we're going to determine where the augmented sixth is typically found in a tonality. Bear in mind that all the following content is regarding typical procedure and does not account for all possibilities. That said, almost every great example of a more adventurous use of the augmented sixth is always grounded in the fundamentals in one way or another. Regarding traditional implementation, it is again another simple procedure, and that's because almost every augmented sixth is going to be built from the minor sixth scale degree of a given tonality. This means that if you know what your tonal center is, simply find the minor sixth scale degree and build an augmented sixth from there. An example of this would be the tonality of D. The minor sixth scale degree is B flat, which means we build an augmented sixth from here. Since we already know how to build an augmented sixth, we know that the augmented sixth is G sharp. And since we also know how to resolve the augmented sixth, we know that the notes B flat and G sharp are going to resolve in contrary motion to form an octave of the note A. Now what can we deduce from this? Well, in addition to the augmented sixth being built from the minor sixth scale degree, we now know that the augmented sixth itself will be the augmented fourth scale degree, this being determined by the relationship of G sharp to the tonal center D. And we also now know that the augmented sixth interval will resolve to an octave of the fifth scale degree, this being determined by the relationship of A to the tonal center D. And lastly, a more subtle deduction is that I have been stating that we are in the tonality of D. I have not been defining the mode of the tonality. As a result, we can deduce that this information applies to both major and minor keys. Now, why is it that the augmented sixth interval is regularly built to resolve to the fifth scale degree? Well, that is because it is resolving to the root of the 5 chord, which is easily one of the most important harmonies used in defining a tonality. Of course, you might ask, but if the tonic is the center of the tonality, why not resolve there? Well, this is most likely for two reasons. The first reason is that the augmented sixth is thought to have evolved from other techniques that were already being used to prepare the 5 chord, which is something we'll discuss in further detail in a later episode. The second reason is that the augmented sixth resolution tends to not have a sense of finality to it. As a result, it was used to intensify the 5 chord, and then the 5 chord is typically responsible for bringing a sense of finality to the tonic. Of course, in its current state, the augmented sixth doesn't offer too much when resolving to simply an octave of the dominant scale degree. We have a perfect consonance with very little harmony, and that's because this is not how the technique is traditionally used. But if we add just a single note, we have enough to form an augmented sixth chord. Now you might be wondering, what note did I add? Well, you'll have to stick around for the next episode, because it is then that we will discuss the Italian augmented sixth. In the meantime, however, let's review the information. When building the augmented sixth in a tonality, the bass tone will be the minor sixth scale degree, and the augmented sixth will be the augmented fourth scale degree. And these two tones will resolve to form an octave of the fifth scale degree. That's all there is to it. I recommend attempting to build the augmented sixth in a traditional manner in all 30 major and minor keys. If you do this, you'll pretty much be ready to face any augmented sixth in the future. Should you happen to have any questions about accomplishing this, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll do my best to assist. In the next episode, as already mentioned, we'll be covering the augmented sixth chords, and we'll start with the simplest variant, the Italian augmented sixth. This, of course, means the German and French variants will directly follow. And once we have determined how to build the typical augmented sixth chords, we'll be ready for some more advanced considerations. For now, however, thank you for watching this episode of Music Theory with GUIM.